Deadlock has two patrons, the Hidden King and the Matriarch. But what if there was a third? The Doorman is the god who entered the ritual for his own amusement. So what would happen if you stopped playing along? The first step to find out would involve figuring out what sort of theme and aesthetic the Doorman as a patron would have. Now, we do know he has a history before he entered the ritual in the current game of Deadlock of being a god and harassing people and tormenting them. However, we don't really know what he looked like or any other visual details of him at the time. So, I'm going to focus more on what he would be like if he embodied his current ideals and aesthetic of serving the people and having a hotel theme. With that figured out, I want to start off by creating the troopers or minions for the Doorman to sort of warm up to the aesthetic and vibe that he would have and all the different elements of being a patron. Now, I want to create the healing minion or the flag bearer, the one, and then two different ones with two different weapons, because here in the little example like visual, that's what they have. Now, the main colors, I want to match the same colors that he has on his current like character model, and also have the sort of like royal hotel feel. So that's like the dark red as their bodies. And then for their head, the current minions have a sort of candle and lamp aesthetic, I believe, which both show that they have light, which I'm in my mind is supposed to signify like their soul and such, like they got a light inside of them, and that's the souls that we're collecting during the game. So I want to keep that up by having a chandelier-ish looking thing as their heads, as that would sort of match the sort of aesthetic of having lights, but also chandelier feels more connected to hotels and such. Now, I did notice that the Matriarch's minions already have a key aesthetic, but I'm like, yeah, you know, it's also the Doorman's thing ish with his ultimate, the Baroness. So I made the flag key themed. A phone, they probably had phones back then. And then this guy's weapon is supposed to be like an axe that's also a door, because the Doorman. Finally, for the last weapon that I think I'm going to get to in a second is a pen. Now, all of these weapons and sort of items and vibe is supposed to be hotel themed, like I mentioned before. But also, I view the minions as they are like gearing up and they're getting ready for battle, because, you know, the ritual is kind of like a fight between patrons. But they are also the minions that would serve the patrons normally and will probably serve them after they get manifested, depending on what's the ritual. So I think there's sort of practicality to it to make it themed of like, oh, the Doorman's patron forms team is like with serving people, the Baroness being a hotel servitude, and they would use like some sort of items that kind of match that, like a key to help people in, a pen to, I don't know, think of sound, a phone, like all the sort of items that you might find in a hotel. But I'm deciding to finish the finishing touches, and I think it came out pretty good. Yeah. On to the main event. With every patron form, I'd say that there's two parts, the astral and looming body, as well as the base that's usually some sort of statue and figure of the astral looming body. Now, with the Doorman, I wanted to start out with the looming body, and I do think there's a pose that already embodies his most godly and closest to patron form, and that's whenever he heals. He hits this pose that I'm outlining right now, as well as he gets a sort of halo around his head made out of the keys. Now, the main parts I wanted to emphasize was his main theme and colors that he already has in his body, as well as the keys, of course, and a giant keyhole in the middle of his chest that will come into play in a moment. Also, his more like defining feature on some defining feature his blue eyes. I had to make sure to add that as well. And right now I want to make it feel more natural, because with the theme I was sort of going for as well, like in my mind, because the Hidden King, he has a sort of punk, rise up, gain power sort of aesthetic, you know, with the different areas, things in his boss area, his lines, his vibe, and so on. And the Matriarch has more of a establishing power, is more of an established authority already, and maintaining that authority and power. So the Hidden King is like, oh, rise up and I'll help you rise up and fight with you. The Matriarch is like, I'll establish power and control, and you can be like among those who I establish power and control with. Now with the Doorman here, also, this is the thing I was doing with the key, is like supposed to look like his alternate dimension that he sends people to with the Baroness. I think it came out pretty good. But with the Doorman, I was thinking of maybe his theme would be more like servitude, and being like, oh, give me control. Let go of your power. You don't worry about anything. I'll take care of everything. and somehow within that he will like take some sort of like power from people by doing so. But that's the main way I was thinking about it with the Doorman, that he like the Hidden King's like, go come, we'll get power together, or I'll get power and like rise up. The matriarch is like control, and the Doorman's like servitude of like, I'll take care of everything, you don't worry, I got this. But in a more like godly sense, you guys know what I mean. So along with that, for his base statue that I'm working on now, I wanted to make it him kneeling down with his arms out, being like, give me all your burdens, all your responsibilities, burdens, and everything that's on your mind, and I'll take care of it. And that would be kind of like his framing around the favors. Now, as for what it is itself, it is a stained glass statue. Why? Not 100% sure. Partly it's because I feel like it fits the hotel aesthetic, because a big part of him is the hotel aesthetic. Part of it is because I want to implement fire with it, because all the other statues of the Hidden King and Matriarch have some element of fire that is like manifesting as a sort of ritual. Same with the troopers / minions. So the visual of this is that there's this stained glass statue, and there's a fire within it that is sort of projecting the overall larger patron astral thing. Now, this is the fire I'm making right now, same the iconic blue of his eyes, and I think that makes sense. Yeah, it fits the hotel aesthetic, and it sort of like matches the themes established by the other patrons. Now in a moment, when I finish adjusting the final parts of the body and statue itself, I'm going to start doing some light touches on the background where I use some browns in order to make it seem kind of like what his base would look like. I mainly do brown so it looks like kind of a wood. Now, and I would imagine that it would have a more hotel aesthetic, similar to the Baroness. But I didn't put all the details into it. It's just like a general idea. In a future video, if I feel up to it, I might create what the base guardians might look like, the shrines might look like, and more detail on what the base itself might look like. And I was even workshopping some ideas of what his theme might be. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see that in the future. But I think it came out pretty good. I like the aesthetic, the colors, and the pose. He does feel, I do feel like this fits. I feel like this would be cool as some sort of mod. I don't know if you can mod the base and patron. I feel like it might be too much, but I feel like it fits and it's really cool. This was really fun. I think it came together quite well, and it fits the themes and aesthetics we established. Let me know if you guys have any other ideas for hypotheticals I could visualize or anything else. All right, bye.